Welcome back, everybody. In this video, I'm talking about one of the best features from ES6 or ECMAScript 2015, which is destructuring. So let's dive into the basics. We've all seen this before, right? So you have an array, you're passing it into a function, and you need just one element of that array, or you need to refer to one element of that array directly. And one way that you can do that is obviously with square brackets. You just give the index of the item that you want, and in this case, we're just returning it. So this just returns the first item in the array. So if I run this, the first element in the array is a 1, so we get a 1. What destructuring allows you to do is assign variables inside of an array, and then give so that the value is paired up with a variable, and you can reference that variable in the function right away. So this is the equivalent of if we had that example from before of doing something like this, saying let x equal, and then returning x, except we get to do it all just in the parameters list, which is amazing. So that's the basics of what it does. And at first, I knew about this for a long time and never really used it. And as soon as I started remembering to use it, I found I just couldn't stop myself, and it became super useful. So let's dive into some actual use cases. In the last few videos that I've made, I've had a lot of work with pairs. So here's an example of one way that you could take the same nums array and just grab out the first two variables. So it doesn't just have to be 1, you can grab off 2. Or in this case, you can use the rest or spread operator. In this case, it's the rest operator. And you can grab off the first one and then return the tail or everything except for that first element. So let's just look at these two at the same time. Man, that's very slow. There we go. And so we've grabbed off the first two, and we've grabbed the rest of the array apart from the first one. So obviously with the rest and spread operator, one way that you could do the tail function down here is to spread the nums array into its individual values and then do something like that. But what destructuring allows you to do is keep that array intact and just destructure and spread right inside of the array itself, which is very, very handy. Now, where I primarily use it is when I'm dealing with higher order functions, so functions like map, where I'm doing a transformation over a list of data with the same shape, and I want to refer to those parts of the data very easily. So if I were to run this, I'm taking the first value from each pair. So in this case, x is 1 and y is 2, and I'm just returning the value of those two added together. And then I'm doing the same thing for each element in that array. It makes it very easy to see what this code does. So 1 plus 2 is 3. 3 plus 4 is 7, and so on through the entire set of pairs, which is very neat. So that's where I use it the most, is in things like this. So let's go down one more here, and you can get very fancy. So in this case, we've got what could essentially be thought of as coordinates, right? So we've got an x1 and a y1 and x2 and a y2, and then we're just going to add them together. So we're going to add the x1 to the x2 and the y1 to the y2. And we can do all this variable assignment with destructuring in the parameters list, which is just so freaking handy, because instead of having to separate these out into 4 variable assignments, we can just do it all in the function declaration. Oops. And this runs just fine. Now, you might be wondering, okay, but up to this point, we've grabbed out individual values. Could you do something like first, and yes, you could. Point you would have to write out like first 0 to second 0. And then the same thing for these ones. First 1, oops, first 1, second 1. I'm telling you, it's harder than you think to talk in code. It's kind of funny. That's why I write out my code when I can beforehand. And there you go, we get the exact same thing. So you can pattern match with pretty much anything that you need and dive down through as many arrays of arrays as you want. Now, just to show you, you can also do this with objects. And you'll notice, well, maybe you won't, but I'll point it out, that these are not in the same order as the keys on the array, or sorry, on the object. Excuse me. So I've intentionally moved fav animal to be the first argument, or the first parameter in the array, in the function, excuse me, just to show you that it's matched by name and it's not matched by index. So this way, we can grab them directly out of the function, or out of the object, and we get this dumb little sentence, Nathan likes lifting weights and penguins, which I should probably flip that, because it's not that I like lifting weights and I like lifting penguins, though that's what it may sound like. However, I have never picked up a penguin, so maybe I would like that. Who knows? And one way that destructuring also comes up for objects, I believe it's still considered destructuring, I would consider it that anyway, is if you have a value that's the same as its name. So if I had something like, I don't know, let's say we had age, and I just had a variable called age. Then I don't have to do age, oops. I don't have to do age on this new object. If I was, say, returning this in a function, I can just, because I'm assigning age to a variable called age, I can just write age once. And it infers that you mean age colon age, which is a nice way to clean up your objects. So that's the basics. Destructuring is not anything super difficult or super confusing. I hope this has been fairly clear. Like I said, I didn't use this for a long time. I really don't use this for objects that often, even though it initially seemed like the more useful. I tend to use it for things like this, pattern matching, because I'm working with a lot of data, and I try to keep my lists of data in the same shape. So if I know I'm passing in 2 pairs, it becomes very easy to separate those into the x1, x2, or x1, y1, x2, y2, and just use them appropriately. So hope you learned something in this video. If you liked it, like the video and subscribe. I come out with these about twice a week. So be happy to hear from you guys if there's anything specific you want me to cover. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.